Hello folks, the Y Guy here again. Welcome to my home on this very hot upper 90s summer day at my home. Welcome. The name of this video is called The Y Guy Knows What Love Is Not. You know, I wanted to title this the Y Guy knows, let's see, the Y Guy is still learning what love is, but knows what love is not. I threw it in here right now at this point so I don't have to have a long title that way. Well, anyway, along with countless billions, I grew up with a perverted sense of love, and that perversion is obvious to me within Christianity. And that's not meant as an insult. It really isn't. But listen up. Most memories of my childhood is condemnation. And not in the biblical sense that Christians understand, but in a modern English tense. And I hope that made sense as a poet and didn't know it. Most teens and some children even, they feel as if they can't do anything right. You know, and I'm sure that feeling, that normalcy, I mean that sarcastically, that normalcy was true with me as well growing up. But when the name calling, you know, came, and the physical and emotional abuse that was consistently part of the mix of me growing up, that's not love, folks. Back then I thought it was. But now looking back, I know that's not love. You know, it didn't even stop as an adult, you know, even though I intentionally moved thousands of miles away and rarely ever made phone calls, and I had very little contact. But you know, unaware to me, the slander and gossip that continued about her only son from her, it continued to close friends and family members, and for over 40 years. And I didn't know that. You know, that was not love from either side, including from me, because that was normalcy for me, you see. I hope this is making sense. You know, when I spoke at her funeral, I could literally see the scorn directed towards me from people's faces. I could see it. From people I've never even met, didn't even know, you know, and I couldn't understand at the time why, until I started putting the pieces together, and that realizing even after death that the previous slanderous comments that my mother made and that were planted, they were still reaping a harvest. Now don't get me wrong, my mother later on in life asked for forgiveness for all of that, but the seeds were still planted and they were still reaping a harvest. Okay, hope that made sense. You know, later in the park, you know, later on after the funeral service in the parking lot, a distant relative approached me and told me that my mother loved me very, very much. You know, maybe so. Maybe she did in her own way. But the love that she showed me was perverted. There's no doubt about it. And folks, perverted love is not love. Remember, this video is called The Y Guy Knows What Love Is Not. Upon seeing a vision of Christ, you know, in my mid-teens, you know, he was standing no more than 10 feet from me. I had an encounter with real love. I really did. And in an instant, I got a taste of what I've been missing my whole life. And frankly, it broke my heart. And I've been growing in that love now for over 50 years. And it's been pretty rocky and frustrating, and I'm still left wanting and wondering and confused, you know, most of the time about what love is. Still am, still learning. Most of the time I feel numb and emotionless, unless of course it's dealing with anger. That one I'm pretty familiar with. You know, Obi-Wan Kenobi once told me, anger is strong in you, young Y Guy Walker. Not really. Anyway, for those of you who have seen my Y Guy YouTube videos, you'll notice I seem to point out what is not true and what is not scriptural, because most of what people think as truth and biblical is not based on love. It just isn't. And I can point those things out. If you want to leave some comments, I can prove it. Most definitely. Because I used to teach it and believe it. So I know exactly where you're coming from if you disagree with me on this. So again, I know what love is not more than what I know love is. And you know, it seems very strange, it's a strange approach. And I'll agree with that. Let me continue and come to a conclusion here. Let me give you a few examples of what love is not. Sanctioning an eternity of torment for a short lifetime of unbelief, this is not love. Promoting hell that causes people to not trust God, this is not love. Telling people to love God or else, that's fear-based, folks, and manipulative. That's not love. God creating you with a free will. Let me do the free will. Put that up there. I had to put down my fly swatter to do that. Yellow jackets. Anyway, creating you with a free will to determine your eternal destiny, while all along, God having a pre-knowledge of a horrible eternal outcome for most. This is not love. This is not God. It's a doctrine of men, and it's a lie. Creating the majority of people to be born for the purpose of eternal destruction. You say, no, that's not the purpose. The purpose is to have them being saved. Yeah, right. Anyway, and then leaving it up to them, the people that is destined for destruction, leaving up to them to correct the problem themselves, with their very acts of believing, confessing, repentance, that it's all up to them. Since what Jesus did was inefficient. I'm being sarcastic on purpose because that's the way it comes across. Okay, so what Jesus did was inefficient. This is another doctrine of men, folks. It's a lie, and it's not love. Christianity, here's another one. Christianity ignoring dozens of scriptures in context, proclaiming how God is going to save all of mankind. This is not love. It's deception. The ignoring all those scriptures part is the deception part, not the fact that God is going to save all of mankind. Because there's dozens of scriptures that says that. Telling people that they're going to hell. Something simple as that. Folks, this isn't love. It's worse. It's deception. And it's a lie. Turn or burn is not love. It's worse. It's a lie. Teaching people to have a reason to fear God. That's not love. That's, phew. You can put any adjective you want on that one. How about telling people to love their enemies while God tortures his enemies for an eternity? This is not love. It's worse. It's hypocritical. And it's a lie. Creating a place. Think about this. Creating a place to keep record of wrong for an eternity. Remember 1 Corinthians chapter 13, love keeps record of no wrong. So how about creating a place that actually keeps a record of wrong for an eternity? This is not love. It's worse. It's deception, and it's a lie. Doctrines of men and religion have been lying for centuries. And guess what, folks? Lying is not love. You think? Beliefs and doctrines that cause you to question God's character. God's character is love. But belief in doctrines that cause you to question that, that's not love. How about beliefs and doctrines that do not bring out in you, up in you, you understand, the fruit of love. Obviously, that can't be love. And the last two, humorously speaking, calling me names and judging my character for doing this video, that's not love. And how about this, in closing, telling me where I might be wrong by leaving comments on this YouTube channel or looking me up on Facebook, but to telling me where I might be wrong about all this video, and doing so out of the motive of love rather than the motive of fear. That's love. And you know what, folks? I'm listening. I've got a humble heart to learn and to listen. We're all in this together. So what say you? You going to leave a comment on this video? If it's a positive comment, give me a thumbs up to confirm that positive comment. If you're going to leave a negative comment, that's okay too. Give me a thumbs down. But make sure that negative comment is polite and out of love, not fear-based. Okay? And if you want to look me up, consider subscribing to this channel. Why not? Look me up on Facebook under the Why Guy Group. It's a safe place for you, unless you're not polite. And then I have an avatar, John Anthony Jones, which is public. You can look me up there. That's not my name, but that's an avatar name. And you'd be welcome. And frankly, there's a lot of questions answered and a lot of questions asked. Or did I say that backwards? Yeah. You get it. Anyway, look me up. Thanks for viewing.